Welcome back to my channel. I'm so thrilled that you're back again as we discuss emotional healing, emotional wellness, and the things that we can do for our internal worlds, because our internal worlds are just as important as our external world. It is so important just to sift through some of the things that are going on the inside and come to a place where we can be comfortable with ourselves on the inside and love what's on the inside and be thrilled with the life that we are creating for ourselves. And yeah, it's easy, it's simple, it's good, sometimes it's challenging, but guess what? We grow and we come out better people on the other side. In this week's video, I want to talk to you about personal values. I don't know if you've thought through this or you even realize the importance of having personal values. When I was Googling this, I saw the first thing that came up was a lot of company values. Like, companies have values and they take time to set these values, these principles and belief systems that they aspire to, and which directs their business. And I just want to talk about this more, why we should apply it to our own personal lives and just the importance of it. And yeah, just talk you through getting some personal values yourself. And then also I want to share some of my personal values that I've been working through over the past few years. So what are values? Values are, as I mentioned, values are a testament to your true self, because they're what matters most to you when it comes to your personal and professional life. So in other words, values set your priorities. It sets what you are going to pay attention to and what you don't pay attention to. And some of us actually have values that were given to us as children, and we've just kept going on with that as we've grown up. We haven't really readjusted those values. Some of us have been readjusting our family values, and we've been very intentional to set values in life. And it doesn't matter which camp you are in right now, whether you have a set of values that you live by or you don't. Like, this is a great opportunity to rethink through them, or to get yourself a list of values. And it doesn't have to take long. It's a very short thing that will help you and your life. So why should we have values? Well, I'm going to give you just a very brief, short list, 5 things of why we should have values, and will help you in thinking through the values that you have and maybe setting new ones to go forward in your life. So the first thing of why we should have values is this quote that I found, and I think this has driven me and made me think through life a lot. And the first thing is, those who stand for nothing fall for everything. So when I was younger, I really didn't have like this intentional set of values that I lived by. And I realized that I was so easily swayed by my friends just because I really wanted to be liked by them. So I guess that was a value system that I espoused, was that I wanted to be liked by people, so I do whatever they want me to do. And honestly, didn't really help me with much. I do believe in this: those who stand for nothing fall for everything. If you don't have anything that you are saying, this is how far I go, or this is where I end, this is where somebody else begins, well, you will be tossed to and fro. You will end up in a lot of disasters, which is true. Like, we think that we can escape disasters by just living life, but escaping disasters is actually a very intentional thing. We need something that we believe in, that we stand up for. Like, in the Christian community, especially in dating and relationships, they say that you should figure out your values in dating so that when you get to those like places of temptation, you won't fall. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Like, having a value system helps you to know that this is how far I will go and no further, long before you get put in those situations. We love to wait till we're in a situation now to figure out what we want to do and what we don't want to do, and that is actually not the right way to go about it. Like, we have to have these values now so that when we get to those situations, we are able to be like, oh, actually, I've long decided that I am not going to do X, so I'm not going to do it. Simple and clear. So that's number 1. Those who stand for nothing fall for everything. I hope you will stand for something and believe in yourself and be strong when you stand for that thing. So, the next thing why we should have values, this is number 2, is that it gives us direction for our lives. So, a lot of us sometimes are like, oh, I am so lost in my life. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. But actually, have you set values that you can then set goals for? And then you can achieve those goals. And then you can see, oh, I'm actually heading in this direction that I want to go in. Like, our values are very directional. And that's something that I've also seen in companies. Their values are directional. And that's why you see companies that have a set of values that they aspire to and that they're living for and that they're going for diligently, that they are achieving things. So it's that simple. Values help us set our goals. We know what we want to go for. And this will lead into the next one that I want to touch. But that was number 2, just very briefly. They give us direction for our lives. And so number 3, leading off number 2, of why we should have values is that it helps us to create the life we want, right? I have found in some conversations, like as an adult, that and this was also me at some point in my life, that so many of us feel like we cannot change some of the situations we find ourselves in. We cannot gain traction, we can't move forward. But I feel like when you have values, you're able to then say, with number 2, you're able to be like, okay, this is what I value. This is what I want my life to look like. For instance, when I was a child, I loved dressing up and I loved looking good. And that was a value that I wanted when I grew up. And I was stupid. I could have done it then and now as well. But I thought that was something I could only do when I was older. Like, I couldn't change that I'm in school, I have to wear school uniform or whatever. So I limited myself. But values also help us grow ourselves, help us not limit ourselves, help us just be like, okay, this is the life I want. This is what I value. I value aesthetics. I value good vibes. And then you go and you shape your world according to those things that you value. I value peace in my relationships and harmony. So then you go for those things, and then you'll know when you see it that that is not a value. So I'm not going to go for that thing. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm just going to keep moving forward. Values give us permission to let go of the crap that holds us back. Values give us permission to say no to those things that we need to say no to and say yes to the life that we want. So that is why we should have values. It helps us create the life we want. It's so important, guys. And then the 4th thing of why we should have values is that it builds character. Character building is so important in our lives. Like, when you come into contact with people that have values, that are successful, that have been going for certain things in your life, you realize that they have this character about them that is just so attractive, that is so inspiring. And it's because they have values. It's because they know what kind of a life that they want, and they're going to stop being wishy-washy about the things that they don't want. We waste so much time in our life about being wishy-washy about things that we just don't need, because we feel guilty, or we feel bad, or we feel like we're making a mistake. But actually, when we have values, it helps us to remember and focus that this is what I'm going after, this is what I want to achieve. So I'm just going to keep putting my focus on going forward, and I'm going to do the best that I can to let go of those things that are holding me back. And that's where you get the character building. It's like, when you're building your character, not everything is easy. You're trying to build certain principles into your life, and principles that you espouse to live by. And that's not easy, hey? Because people are pulling you in one direction, and work is pulling you another direction, and you have to be determined and set to keep going for the set of values that you have. Not everybody's going to be happy with you because you have these new values that you're putting in your life and that you are really going after. People are going to be upset with you. People are going to call you names. People are gonna, yeah, they just might not be in your corner as you're going after this value thing, and that also builds character. Because are you gonna be swayed by what people are saying, or are you gonna keep looking forward to this beautiful life that you can create for yourself? So that's number 4, building your character, and it's really good for your life, guys. And then the last thing, why we should have values, is that it builds consistency in our life. A lot of us fail on this consistency level, and I know I did. I didn't have a lot of consistency in the personal areas of my life. Like, I had consistency in like school, because you have to go, you've got to do homework, all of those things. It's very regimented, or at least it was very regimented for me. I had sports, I had music. That was when I was younger, and then you go to college and it's a bit of the same things. But then as you grow older, like, your personal life is as important as your career. And you need to build consistency in your personal life to see, and that will also help you see growth. That will also help you get to the places in life where you want to get. Consistency is such a big part of our lives that we underestimate, and it's doing a lot of those small things consistently that will get you to where you need to get in life, that will catapult you to your destiny. But it starts here. It starts small. It starts by improving your personal life, because if you lack like the values and the character in your own life, like, when you get to a bigger place in your world, you might not succeed in that place because you lack certain building blocks that you just didn't do in the critical times of your life, and that's now. And if you're older, I mean, it doesn't matter. That is still now. You get to build values, you get to build consistency in your life, and that's what helps us with when we are striving towards values, guys. We need values in our life. We need to stand for something. We need to have direction in our lives. We need to create the lives that we want, and we can create the lives that we want. We need character, guys. We really do need character to go further and higher and achieve those big things that we want to achieve. We need character for that. And we need consistency, guys. We need to be consistently working at life every single day, and all of these things pay off in the end. So don't be short-sighted about the value of values. Yeah. And so I said that I would share some of my personal values that I have espoused in my life, and I've collected them along the way. So this is what I have come up with. It's not everything, it's just a few things. So let's jump right in. So one of my biggest values is that I've been living is that I let my yes be yes and my no, no. Like, if I say I'm going to do something, I, as much as possible, try to do it. And especially if I'm making commitments with people, if I can't make that commitment, then I don't make it. But if I do make it, then as much as possible, I try to show up no matter what. And there have been moments in my life where I've had to cancel, like, when you make plans in advance and everything's going well, and then something happens and you're like, okay, wait, no. So that was something that I had to do in my life, was that I had to actually just let my yes be yes and my no. I was very flaky when I was younger, and yes, I had good reason, but no, good reason is not a reason to be flaky. Good reason is not a reason to not stick to your word. Of us have so many excuses, and it's at the cost of others, right? And if you value people in your life, then rather be honest with yourself first, and then be honest with them, and actually do what you say you're going to do, and don't do what you're going to say that you're not going to do. So that I'm going to keep it nice and short. I have so many other things to say about that, but that's where I'm going to stop. Right? So I let my yes be yes and my no be no. Another value that I live by is I value my family. Like, we are not the best family, but our family is not your quintessential family. But yet, for me, family is such a big role in my life. So as much as possible, I try to communicate with every person in my family, and it hasn't been easy. We have had our ups and our downs, but that is my commitment. Like, no matter how down it is, I'm still committed to my family, so I'm not going to desert them. I'm not going to leave them. I'm just going to work on myself and figure out my life, and then I'm going to come back to you, and I'm going to figure out how to do life with you as you are, because I value having this family unit. And that's something that I really want to take into one day when I get married, is that, I'm going to be committed no matter what. Like, if I have to to step aside to figure out myself for the better of the family. That's what I'm going to do, because family is that important to me. I'm not going to drop you just because stuff happens. Stuff will always happen. Like, I will cause stuff, you will cause stuff, but at the end of the day, if I'm important enough to you, that means then let's sit at this table and figure it out. Learn how to live with one another. That's my family value. And then the last value that I want to talk about is communication. I never used to value communication. I just used to be in my own world. I didn't see how important it was to communicate and communicate well with people. But now I see, I went through a process and I went through some learning, and now I see how important communication is. Like, people don't know what you're thinking, you don't know what they're thinking, and so in order to come to the table, in order to have good relationships, you have to talk to one another. And it's not just forcing your opinion, and sometimes there are going to be heated debates, but hearing somebody, like communicating and hearing somebody out, whether you agree or not, that is what's important. Communication and learning to talk to each other no matter how hard it gets. Like, talk, because there's always a solution at the end of the day. I realized, and if communication is open, there will be less surprises that cause you to, be shocked out of nowhere. Another thing with communication is, like, somebody knows your expectations. You know somebody else's expectations from the get-go. It's not a thing where you're trying to guess what somebody else likes or they're trying to guess what you like. So that's what communication just makes life easier and funner. So that's what communication does. These are just 3 short examples of my values. I do have a little bit more. One of them is this emotional healing stuff. I really do value it. And y'all can see, because I've done a whole channel about it. But yeah, those are my values. And I think it's so important to keep going after values. Keep values. Don't keep changing them. Like, your life, when you build consistency in your life, like, you will see fruit. You will see this beautiful life come to fruition that you want. But when we keep being wishy-washy, changing things up and there, like, we don't ever find the stability that we're looking for. And then we cause all sorts of other drama in our own lives that we don't need. So guys, this was just a video on the importance of having values in your life and why you should have them. And I hope you can go after this. If you have values, I'd love to know what some of your values are. Just pop them in the comments. We can have a little bit of a discussion there. Like this video if you thought it was good, and share it with your peeps. Guys, let's do these easy things to improve our life and gain the traction and the life that we really want to have. So I hope this was good. We will chat again soon. Cheers.